typically, whenever I solve a problem, Laura's like, I would have done this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I should have thought of that.
Yeah, I just think it would be helpful for me because, like, I'm uncomfortable with, like, knowing how to problem solve things. If I had, like, a general idea of what would be appropriate in a situation, I think I could figure out something that would work. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Where's David?
He's doing therapy.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna put my jacket right here. Well, David gets the life of a master, so it's not like he needs to listen in on this. But all right, so these I just wrote up some typical things that people usually say after their float. Okay. Yeah, it just didn't connect with me. I don't know. No, Laura.
So what was your answer? What did you say to that?
Well, I usually will be like, oh, okay, so, what exactly was, like, the issue? Like, did you have a hard time relaxing? Because a lot of times for your first float, like, you don't know what to expect. You don't always trust the water, you know? So it takes time to get, adjusted. So a lot of people don't have a great first float. Mm-hmm. So I try to figure out if it's like, oh, like, I couldn't relax, or, you know, some people just can't be in there for an hour, you know? Mm-hmm. So sometimes if it's just, like, it was too long, you know, then I would be like, well, we do have shorter floats, like for like 45 minutes and half an hour. Actually, a lot of float centers don't think that people should float for half an hour. I mean, I feel like, you know, it's your personal decision how long you want. I don't want to compel you to float for a certain amount of time. So I kind of try to ask Todd a little bit more to see exactly what the issue was. And some people just don't like, they don't have anything to do in there, you know, and they don't want to meditate or whatever, and they're just, like, super bored and stuff, and, you know, if they just don't like that calming feeling, you know, that, I don't really have a response to that. If they just didn't like it, and they're like, it's really boring in there, they don't want to, like, play music or whatever.
Right, yeah. So sometimes, like, oftentimes, that's something that someone says when someone else bought it for them.
Yeah.
So in those situations, sometimes like they have a gift card, so they're like are ready to pay anyway because someone else bought it for them. Or if it's like a couple's float, like a wife and a husband will come out, and the husband was like, you know, whatever. Right?
I tried to get them to re-gift the gift card. I was like, I can change the denomination so it doesn't look like you're re-gifting. You know what I mean? So instead of like it being like $57, if someone knows that you're re-gifting it, like you just give me a couple extra bucks and make it even 60. Yeah. So like in that situation where they clearly dislike it, I try to make them re-gift it.
Yeah. Or like, you know, if there was something that we did that made it so that they didn't enjoy the float, like for example, like the room was too hot, like or too cold if our HVAC is broken, you know what I mean? Or if there was something that like we did wrong that made them not enjoy it, then we want to give them a free one for sure, you know what I mean? Whereas if they were just like, it was okay, but it's not for me, like we don't usually give them that for free then, you know, sometimes. Like, if they stayed in the whole hour. Yeah. If they got out after, like, half an hour, you know, then we usually give them, like, half off or something like that. Yeah. Does that make sense? But if they stay in the room the whole hour and they were just like, it wasn't really for me, you know, then I usually will say something like, oh, well, you know, we have other, like, services and stuff. You want to do this next time, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Or we'll say, like, oh, well, did you at least, like, are you glad you tried it or something like that, you know? Or you might say something like, hopefully you'll feel, like, the positive benefits, like, in your body for the next day or two, and you might sleep well tonight, you know, because you got all that Epsom salt, you know what I mean? So even if they didn't really enjoy, like, the sensory deprivation of the zero gravity aspect of it, they probably got some benefits from it. So if they're just giving you, like, a lukewarm response, you know, I would usually say something, like, about, like, oh, well, are you at least glad you gave it a try, or something like that, you know, rather than just try to give them something for free. You know what I mean? If they stayed in. If they got out after, like, 10 minutes, though, we, like, never charge them, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
So, like, if they got out after 10 minutes, like, definitely don't charge them. Yeah. And if they have a gift card, then, yeah, you can, like, encourage them to re-gift it or something like that. Something that I've been people hate it and they don't want to re-gift the gift card is we'd like to set up some kind of like a float donation program,
that's a good
like to
idea.
donate the floats to
Yeah.
people who can't afford them. You know, it's like, oh, if you don't think you'll reuse it or re-gift it, would you like to donate the balance of your gift card to people who can't afford like the full price floats and stuff? And people often will do that.
Yeah,
You know, so
yeah.
that's something. I think I've talked to a few of the supervisors about wanting to do that before.
Yeah, we should really do that, yeah.
Just because sometimes people don't want the float and they don't want to like give it to anyone else. They're like, I can't think of anyone I would give it to. You know what I mean? So sometimes we'll give them like, you could buy some retail. With the float gift card, you can buy like CBD with it or things like that.
Okay.
Just so you know. But if they don't want any retail, I think we should have some kind of a program to donate the floats to people who can't afford them. Yeah. So, but the best thing to ask after a float though is, how do you feel? Don't ask how was your float. They don't know the answer. You know what I mean? Because they don't know what to expect. If you ask how was the massage, like people have some preconceived notion of what the massage is, you know, and they feel like, oh, my shoulder hurts, I'm gonna go into a massage and it should feel better, right? Like people kind of know what to expect with a massage. So if you ask how was your massage, they had some idea before going into the massage about what they wanted and they come out and it either matched that expectation or didn't, right? But never ask them how was your float after the float. Ask them how do you feel, okay? So I always ask clients how do you feel after their float. Because if you say how was your float, they're like it was weird. You know what I mean? Like don't ask how was their float because they don't really know what to expect in that experience. You know what I mean? So they're like, I don't know, you know? So never ask how was your float. Ask how do you feel, right? As they come out, they're like, oh, you know, I feel pretty good, right? Because it's helping center them in their bodies and realizing, like, instead of focusing on what was weird or whatever and what, like, that they didn't expect things or the water was really slippery and it felt oily and they didn't like it or whatever, you know what I mean? Because they'll focus on those things. If you ask how do you feel, they might, like, actually think about their body and they're like, oh, my shoulders actually do feel a lot better. You know what I mean? So it's definitely, like, really important to start that interaction with how do you feel, not how was your float. It's, like, robotic to ask people how was your float, you know, because we do that on massage, right? Like, how was your massage, right? But asking them how do you feel then kind of eliminates those weird responses, too. If you say how do you feel, and they'll be like, oh, I feel okay, but this wasn't good. You know what I mean? Then, like, they'll tell you if there was something that was wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
So.
I haven't been doing it, but I agree. I can imagine, like, a customer coming out and these are like, hello. Well, my husband's like,
Yeah.
how do you feel?
What's that supposed to say? How do you feel?
Yeah.
No, it really is because people don't know what to expect with the floats, you know, and so they come out and all the time when we say how was your float, they're like it was weird or it was interesting or something. I wasn't that into it, you know what I mean? But if you ask them how they feel, they're like noticing their bodies and what changes happen. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
That eliminates a lot of the weird responses.
It really does.
It's better. You never have to deal with how to answer a weird response if they don't have the opportunity to give you a weird response.
That's a good point.
It's a little manipulative psychology thing we can do.
And then I guess the other one we kind of mentioned, I couldn't relax in the tank.
Yeah. And then we'll often tell people, if they say they couldn't relax, you know, we'll often tell people, like, yeah, your first time, you know, you're kind of feeling where the buttons are, and you're really in your head, and, like, trying to get used to, like, a new environment. So usually it's by, like, the third float that people really have an easy time of just sinking right into it, you know, immediately. So usually it takes a few times of being in that zero gravity environment before you can fully relax. And then we can also recommend, like, using the halo if they didn't, right? It'll be like, oh, did you use the float halo? You know, a lot of people carry a lot of tension in their neck and shoulders, and if you didn't use the float halo, like, that might still be really tight, you know what I mean? So ask them if they use the halo, ask them if they wanted to try, like, the neck doodle or something next time, if they were worried about the salt water getting on their face or in their eyes, you know what I mean? So sometimes I might say something like that, like, I was worried about getting the salt in my eyes or I did get the salt in my eyes. You know, people say that all the time too, right? What did you think your response for that one?
Oh, I don't have answers like all written out or anything.
Oh, okay.
But kind of like trying to figure out like why they couldn't relax in the tank.
Yeah.
Asking more questions.
And you can recommend like the different nature tracks or different, you know, like if they did the meditation, try to do the ocean next time, or if they did the ocean, try to do the meditation next time, things like that.
And when I tell them, like, you'll be relaxed when you sleep tonight, that's for sure. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
other than that, like, they might not feel it right away, but when they go home, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then the music didn't turn on.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, here's the thing, and again, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? When you take them in the room to show them the room, you're always listening to make sure the music is working. If you realize you put them in the room and the music isn't playing, don't let them, like, get naked and start showering and stuff. Just be like, I need to go back to the desk and check your music. I'm going to leave the door open. I'll be right back. You know what I mean? So that they know that you need to check the music and go back and listen to it. You know what I mean? Because that one does happen a lot. Because people are like, oh, I'll just fix the music when I go up to the front. But then, like, it can be so busy and you get distracted with other things. You know what I mean? So definitely prevent that from happening by making sure the music is playing when you put them in the tank. But also sometimes we like don't have the meditation on a loop. Like we don't have it on repeating. So it plays just for an hour. And when it's done playing, it stops the track. You know what I mean? So we as the desk workers need to make sure that we have it on a loop and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But also we can let them know, like, if the music stops playing, you can always push the help button, and then we can talk to you on the intercom system and get that, you know, troubleshoot for you or whatever. And then if they had done that and it didn't work, right? So if they hit the help button and it didn't work, then and we couldn't figure it out, and they said it like negatively impacted their flow, I usually give them a discount, like 25% off or something like that, or give them extra flow cash.
I give them flow. I charge them full price and give them extra flow cash.
Oh gosh.
To like compel them to come back.
It depends on how bitchy they are about it.
That is true. Some customers you can sense that they were like
Gonna be really mad about it.
Yeah, they're really mad about it, and that they want the discount right now. Like,
there's
no way that you can get away with some flow cash.
I wouldn't give them like half off just for the music not working, but I would, if they're really, really grumpy, I would give them like 25% off. But if they were just like, oh, you know, it didn't work or whatever, then I would just give them flow cash for next time.
Just to sense how grumpy they are.
Yes.
On the grumpy meter. But I mean, there's times where like, you know, the music will be on when I put them in, and they say the music didn't turn on. It's possible that they hit the wrong button when they went to turn off the light.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
So sometimes they turn off, or
they
the
hit the
equipment
mute.
They hit the mute and don't realize that they did, and they think it's our fault. So that does happen sometimes too. And then people also say the music went off during my float, and that's some of the reasons why that could happen. I mean, it could malfunction. Like the tanks do break down every now and then. So it is possible that, you know, that it just happened to break down at that moment.
Right. It's possible.
It is possible.
So we don't call people liars.
Yeah. The customer is always right.
Yeah. Or the customer's feelings are always valid. Is really more what it is. The customer is not always right, but the customer's feelings are always valid. We want to validate their feelings.
Right.
Well, like, you know, kind of explaining how we can, like, troubleshoot that so the next time they float, they don't have that problem. You know what I mean? Because you want to offer solutions, and we can't do anything when the float's already done. You know what I mean? But we can make sure it doesn't happen again. You know what I'm saying?
But if the music is an issue, they complain about the music, it's important for you to start a session and double check, just to make sure it isn't a technical failure on our end. So you'll just start it. So sometimes, like, the cord might be undone, or someone will, like, ask you to put their phone up here, and you'll unplug the cords to play their phone, and so things might be not plugged in, because, like, a member came and brought in their own phone, something like that. It could be loosey-goosey on these remotes over here, like,
these ones.
it's not a super great connection, because everything's really taut, so sometimes they can come out, so you just have to check that the auxiliary cords are plugged in. Alright, and then I couldn't hear the music.
Oh, they couldn't hear the music.
There's sometimes different tracks depending on where they are. And
So if I'm thinking about getting rid of thunderstorms altogether.
Okay. Yeah, Paloma was in here and she was like, kind of insinuating like the music here. I was like, well, you go pick them out then. And
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Yeah. No, I mean, I think if we just had meditation or ocean,
Uh-huh.
because people can never hear thunderstorms.
That is.
And
a good
always
one.
when I'm telling them the music options, I was like, there's very quiet thunderstorms. Like I say that when I'm saying the option.
Yeah.
I was like, we have ocean, waves, wind, and rain. We have a deep sleep meditation. And then if they want the thunderstorms, then I'll say, like, it's very quiet. Like, you know what I mean? So that they know to expect that.
I mean, we could also just like not have the thunderstorms unless the people who have had them before, because they're
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not
Yeah.
listing it to new people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if they say they couldn't hear it, we let them know that like the speakers, there's 4 speakers in the tank that go around the tank, right? And so as you drift around in the tank, it's louder or quieter in different areas. So I let people know that like once you have stopped like, you know, kind of bouncing around, you should find an area in the tank where you can hear the music and then kind of brace yourself on the sides of the tank to stop yourself from spinning and moving, and then relax, and you actually won't move. Like once you, so some people just spin the whole time because it's kind of like being in space. Like if you push off of something, you'll just keep going forever, you know? So if you're spinning in a circle, you will continue spinning the entire float. You need to stop yourself. so you have to brace yourself. Really, you have to brace yourself on the side of the tank. And then just like let your arms relax back into a natural position, and you can stay right by where a speaker is. If some people really want to be able to hear certain tracks and things, like they can remove their earplugs, but we do tell people like we really emphasize that there'll be a lot of salt, and so they should rinse their ears really well in the shower after their shower, and then when they get home, they should do a 50-50 vinegar and water rinse to get all the salt out of their ears. Some float centers offer the 50-50 vinegar water like in the room, like in a spray bottle. They have like a spray, like a squeeze bottle, you know what I mean? Like for contact solution kind of thing. So they have like a squeeze bottle of 50-50 vinegar water like on a shelf in the shower, and people can rinse their ears out with the vinegar and water. But I just would prefer we tell people to do that at home. I don't want putting things in their ears and getting ear infections or whatever here and blaming us. You know what I mean? So. Float Oasis, this is Laura. How can I help you? Oh yeah, sorry about that. We put a note at the very top of the booking page to let you know that the gift cards do have to be redeemed in the store. So when you're making the booking, you just put a credit card number on file, but don't pay now. So there are 2 options. There's like pay now or pay at the store. And so click the pay at the store option, and then you just bring the gift card in with you, and we do that at checkout. So everybody needs a card on file to make a booking. It's just one of the booking software requirements, but you can pay cash when you come in. You can pay with a gift card. Did you want me to check the balance of your gift card and everything? It should be just fine, but. Okay. Okay. Sure. If it's open, yeah. I think I see you booking online right now. Is this Erin? 45-minute couples float? Okay. So you've got, yeah, it shows us you're booking online right now. If you wanted, so if your gift card is for $100, is it for $100? I just wanted to let you know that we have a special discount for first-time floats, so the hour is also $100, so you get a free upgrade of 15 extra minutes if you wanted to do that. If you want to just keep it as a 45, that's totally fine, but it's 15 extra minutes for free. So it's normally $120 for the hour couples, but since it's your first time, you get $20 off the total price. They're $10 off each. And then, yeah, if room 3 is still available, we can just swap it over. Either if you hear back from your wife, you just give us a call and we'll just move you over to pool number 3, the open tank. Or if you want to just wait till you come in, and if by chance it is open, we can do that too. But you can just call me back if you hear back from her and want to move over. The couples tend to like the enclosed tanks because they have the starry canopy. So, yeah. Yeah, that one's a more popular one, but it's really up to you. Okay, cool, great. Well, yeah, we'll see you tonight. Take care. Bye.
Okay, the next one, and this is especially true for children, is my butthole burned during the float.
They're rarely going to say that.
Well, the kids
Yeah.
in float sometimes have that
They
issue.
do. So, one thing, and again, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? Before people go in, when you're doing the orientation in the room, you say any cuts or scrapes or pH issues or sensitivity down below, and I do a little a gesture of the general lower area, any place where you would have any sensitivity, you should put the A&D ointment right beforehand. Children in particular are very rough when they're wiping down there, so they can have some micro tears and stuff. So it might just sting a little bit from the salt. I mean, it's 1,300 pounds of salt. So if you ever got salt on a paper cut or any cuts and stuff, it stings, right? Well, this is, pretty sensitive areas. And also little girls tend to get stinging and burning down there. And so do women who are post-menopause age. So if you're still menstruating, then you have a more secure situation down there, right?
I didn't know that because the first time I floated, I took Nene with me.
Mm-hmm.
She complained she had that problem.
It's because of post-menopause, because you're drier down there, So when you're menstruating, there's more lubrication and stuff, and the tissues aren't quite so dry, and they're not as sensitive. So young girls, so before they've menstruated, I always tell their parent who's in there with them, girls who haven't menstruated yet, are much more sensitive down there, and the salt can sting. I don't say burn. Burn's a bad thing to say. Don't say things are burning. That's going to make them think they're going to get urinary tract infection or an STD or something, right? So just say it can sting, right? So it can be really irritated. So I tell parents with little girls in particular that they should put the A&D ointment down below to prevent any stinging or discomfort, just because that's a really sensitive place, right? Every mom I've told, because I'm a mom, I float with my daughter. So you can just tell people, our director is a mom, she floats with her daughter. Her daughter's been floating since she's 6. Just tell people that. That's what I say. I'm I floated with my daughter since she was 6. And, it stings down there if you don't put the A&D, so you have to put that on. It's just like Vaseline or petroleum jelly too, so you can tell people that. It's just like Vaseline, it's just going to be a protective barrier between the salt and your sensitive tissues. But little boys, too, can burn on the backside, again, because of rough wiping and stuff, so we want to let people know beforehand, any places where it might be overly sensitive or irritated from too rough wiping and stuff, right? I would say that before they go in for the float to put A&D ointment. So if they come out after, if they're chaos, sometimes moms with kids are chaos here, and they come in and it's very chaotic. You're trying to get them to watch the video and do the waiver, and they just want to get in the room, and it's not a swimming pool or a hot tub, guys. This is a different kind of experience. So sometimes they don't listen really well during the orientation, so they might say afterwards that it's done. You know what I mean? And so we would say, it's, to put the A&D ointment on or whatever. Now, if it burned so bad that they got out early, and they both showered and came out immediately, again, we don't charge them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if she just was okay, go play in the shower or play on your iPad and I'm going to do my float, then, you can still charge the mom.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So, and just give them some float cash and be come back by yourself and enjoy it next time. You know what I mean? I mean, I do. I say that. You know what I mean? It's if next time you just want to come by yourself, here's some float cash so you can try again and just get some relaxation. What do you think?
Swimsuits, should they still put on the A&D ointment, or is that still?
Yeah, I would still recommend it.
Okay.
So even if you have a suit, just put it on before you put the suit on or whatever, because salt still gets in there. You know what I mean? So it's not like beach sand or whatever where like the soup will protect you from it. It's the salt
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
So.
My skin was itchy.
Hello.
Hi. I have a moment.
Awesome. Julie,
Yeah.
do you need to use the restroom first?
You know, maybe I will.
Okay.
Around the corner, just not.
We have our on as well, which is nicer. Right through this wooden door, first door on your left.
My skin was itchy during the float.
Yeah, so sometimes people have really sensitive skin or eczema, so you might ask them, like, do you have really dry skin, or do you have eczema, or is your skin sensitive normally? You know what I mean? And again, it's an issue of if they stayed in the whole hour, we would just give them some full cash for next time, or, you know, give them a discount if they complain a lot. You know what I mean? But if they stay in for the whole hour, then we're still going to charge them something. But if they get out immediately, again, we're not going to charge them for that. And say, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, sometimes, it's really dry this time of year, or if people have allergies or eczema, like, it can be itchy. And we do mention it on the waiver, so you can always say, like it said on the waiver, like, if you have skin conditions or things like that, it can be uncomfortable because of the high concentration of salt. But we don't have, also, you usually want to tell people, like, we don't put any, like, abrasive chemicals or anything in the tank. It's just pure water, medical grade Epsom salt, and some peroxide to sanitize, but it's a really low concentration. So nothing in it should be irritating your skin unless you have an allergy to magnesium. But it says it's magnesium sulfate on the thing, so we informed them. You know what I mean? So just letting you guys know. Like, it says it right on the waiver what's in the solution. So there wouldn't be any, because people will ask that sometimes. Like, do you use any cleaners? You know what I mean? They ask that a lot, right, Issa?
You do,
so, yeah. So we again reiterate, like, it's just water, medical grade Epsom salts, and a little bit of peroxide. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Just a side note that Hobbs actually has eczema, and when he first floated, he said, like, his hand did hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But then now that he's been floating, he says that the floating has recovered his eczema.
Yeah, it does help. And eczema is like a really slippery kind of thing because there's so many different kinds of eczema, and some of them dermatologists will say is like triggered by stress and stuff. And so obviously floating's really good for stress. So like the more relaxed you are and the better you're managing your stress, usually your eczema clears up a little bit. But also you just get used to it. You know what I mean? So.
And then the water was too cold.
So that's usually because they took too hot of a shower. So we would sometimes ask them, like, did you take a really hot shower beforehand, or did you take, a lukewarm shower like we recommend in the video? You know what I mean? And don't be petty or weird. You know what I mean? So don't be like, well, he told you, but you're just reminding them that they were informed beforehand, because otherwise then they'll immediately come back with, well, nobody told me. You know what I mean? So I just use a really calm, like, oh, well, like it said in the video, you should take a lukewarm shower beforehand. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Just really a little smooth, slip it in, right? So, well, like it said in the video, you shouldn't take a super hot shower beforehand because it'll raise your skin temperature, da-da-da-da-da, right? So, you don't mind changing your shoes? We've got some spa slippers right outside and on the left. They're small at the top, extra large at the bottom. So that's almost always the reason. And so we'll sometimes say, and that's one of the reasons why at the desk we're supposed to have the supervisor checklist that has all the temperatures for the day. Like, oh, we checked the temperature this morning and, it was 95, which is what it normally is, So sometimes people just feel a little too hot or too cold, or if they were in an enclosed tank, we might remind them to keep I'm going to take her into the lounge. Oh, okay. Would you like to come this way? Looks like you got your waiver done online. Yes. Did you get a chance to watch the orientation video yet?
I did. And then some people are actually expecting a hot tub when they come in, so I remind them that the water is supposed to be around 95 degrees. Even if it's at 96, it's really dangerous for you. Because it's not in a hot tub, you can stay in for like 10 minutes and you can get out and you're fine. And in a hot tub, only part of your body is exposed because usually the rest of you is not exposed. But in this water, in this solution, your brain is actually like living in the water. So it is very important to maintain that brain in a 95 floating.
So I'm gonna have Alexis do the orientation and Anne listen to it
Okay.
because there's very few opportunities to listen to the orientation today.
Okay.
So if that's okay. There and then in the back under the black table.
Yeah, you can go.
Um,
I'll keep banana for you.
Don't eat the banana.
Haven't we done anything today yet?
So how did you find out about
Super
us?
excited for this. Google.
Google! Yay, Google! Have you ever floated anywhere else before?
I have. A number of years ago, I used to live in Texas, and I floated there.
Oh, awesome! So
So I'm very excited.
So did you do the like pod style tanks or
Yes.
like the ones with the doors?
Nope, the pad.
The pods? Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, this is a more spacious tank. Actually, let's put Julie in room 6.
Oh, no, you're okay.
6 is ready, right?
Yeah.
Let's use 6 instead. It's a nice. We redid the floors in room 6 recently, so they're very nice.
Oh.
I'll put you in there.
I'm sure it's all very nice.
It is. It really is. But it's your first time here. So we're redoing the other floors May 9th. So
Yeah.
they'll all be matching and updated and nice pretty soon. But okay. It's a slow day, so we have plenty of rooms available.
I saw that. I was like, oh, wow. Wide open.
Yeah, we were
I must keep my pick.
like in February we were closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so it's still kind of slow and picking back up again. So people got used to us being closed, but
Okay.
we're back to 7 days a week now. So we have a meditation track, which is like a deep sleep white noise. I recommend that one for first time folks if you want something to fade in the background a bit. We also have ocean, waves, wind, and rain. So it's like kind of noisy, constant noise. But
Okay.
there's also the option to just have it off from the start if you want to do the sensory deprivation. We do have a mute button in the tank, so if you wanted to start with the meditation and then just mute it.
Meditation.
Okay, cool. We will do that. Great. Do you have any questions for me before I send you back?
No.
Okay. We're training today, so if it's okay for Anne to shadow, Alexis is going to give your orientation.
Alrighty.
Enjoy your flows.
Thank you.
6 is just nicer.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually going to check to make sure that Alex did this right. About getting rid all the old ones.
Yeah, David was still using the all items. I was like, stop doing that. Use the categories.
He's not the only one.
No, I know he's not. I know he's not. Well, I mean, it makes sense. People don't want to look by category or whatever, you know. But I'm just like, oh my god, quit scrolling forever, guys. There's so many things. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? So Cindy,
Yep, she's
Last
correct.
wife. Okay.
And we
So-
can also have her work a Saturday too if we need to, because the reason why he can't come is because he's taking her
I
to the
understand.
grocery store.
No, I know.
You buy her.
Yeah. So, and she wants to work Saturday or Sunday, but not both, you said though, right?
I don't think she wants to work, because then she'd have to, except if so she works as like putting lunches together for kids. So when school is out, I'm under the assumption that she has nothing to do, and school's going to be out soon.
Oh, okay.
Like I think like June. Is that when kids are out of school these days?
Yeah, like around June 10th
I know
or so.
summertime she's like, she has a lot of free time. But the problem is that like, if Lulu is complaining about the towels, I don't think Cindy can use the towels. Because it's just another old movie. You know what I mean?
I know.
So I don't think we can have her come work midship and do towels.
Yeah.
I think she could do the float, but not the towels.
Cindy? David, so this morning, Adam Seibach came in. Remember, he was a member.
Yeah.
He's an accountant. And so he's like, oh, I'm going to come on the phone every week. And then he asked David, he was like, are you guys gonna open earlier again like you used to? And I had just told David, like, literally 2 days ago about how we used to open at 7:30 because it was the only thing that saved us, like, in the summer and stuff, because people want to come early. And he was like, people would want to come at, like, 6 if you opened at 6.
Oh, really?
You know?
There's people that, wow.
Well, because of people like him, you know, who he was like, my coworkers wake up at, like, 4 a.m. And then they, like, go to the gym or do whatever. Like, you have to do it early, you know? And I was like, I know, and people would float if we opened that early. They absolutely would. And people still ask us to come early, you know? And it's so funny, I just told him that 2 days ago, and then Adam's like, when are you going to open early, you guys, you know?
It was kind of funny because when you suggested open early, I went home and I was like, what kind of people, what kind of person wants to float at 6 a.m.? And Alex is like, the kind of person who floats. And I was like, that's a really good point.
It's true,
Because
yeah.
those are like really healthy, conscious people. You know?
Yeah, and they wake up early. They wake up.
Some people work night shifts, like my roommate.
Absolutely.
So,
And they would float after work too, for sure. But anyway, David said if we wanted to expand the hours earlier, he's like, I'll come in at 6 if you want.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
He used to wake up at 4 a.m. for his job all the time.
Yeah.
Like, he'd wake up at 4 or 5.
I know Mary is an early riser.
I could too. I wake up every morning at like 4 or 5. So like,
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex is like, do not schedule me.
Okay, Alexis, we're opening at 4 a.m. now.
I would say you can schedule me early, but I might not be able to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but the point of it is a lot of times it's like people working, and so we wouldn't have to do it 7 days a week. That's what David was saying.
Oh, yeah.
Even if
That's a
you
good
just
point.
wanted to do it 2 or 3 days a week, like you don't need it on Saturday or Sunday. I mean, some people do want to wake up at fucking 4 a.m. on a Saturday and go to the gym and stuff. There are people like that, okay? There's definitely people like that, and that's fair enough, but, like, we don't have to do it 7 days a week. Or
That's
we
a good
could
point,
just do
yeah.
it a few days a week. Like, maybe David and Ann could open early. Okay, so anyway, let me check Julianne here. And I've got her session at 90. Good. Alright. What were you in the middle of?
Oh, yeah.
Skin. We did skin, itchy skin.
I had kind of told them when people
the
complained
cold.
that the water was too cold that we can't have it really hot because it's bad for them.
We
you
do,
know?
yeah, we tell people because it's not like a hot tub. Here's the other thing you can tell people. It's not like a hot tub because your head is also partially submerged, and you can't regulate your temperature on your head as well. Like in a hot tub, it's just your body, but your head's not in the water. You know what I mean? So we do have to tell people as high as we can go is 95.5. We can make a note on your account for future floats if you'd like it that hot. We can get the room and the tank bumped up to 95.5. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then, but that they should take a cooler shower beforehand, and they should keep the doors closed if they're in the enclosed tank, so that they don't get like a draft of cold air coming in. Because a lot of people leave their doors open, and they don't know they're supposed to close them too. So, and tell them the less that they move, because that's the other thing. Like if you're splashing around or moving or itching yourself and stuff all the time, like you're kind of colder. But once you just sit still, you actually get this little bubble of like warm air like over your body and like in the water around you. When you move in the water, like it feels cold. But when you're like totally still, like all the water that's right next to you is exactly the same temperature as your skin. So the less you move in the tank, the warmer you are too. That's another pro tip.
I'm learning so much today. Well, I'm going to take this recording and I'm actually going to download it and replay it to myself. So some people actually call days later and they'll be like, I've been feeling sick, itchy, red, blah, 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 some type of discomfort since my float 2 days ago or 3 days ago. So that has happened.
Right. So let's go to, because we got an email like this and we wrote an email response. Do you remember that, Asa?
I do remember that. I always like the first thing I think is, like, oh God, she's going to want to sue me.
Yeah, I know,
That's my first
right?
reaction.
Yeah. So some lady... Okay, some lady emailed us Sunday, February 27th at 2:10 p.m. I was there yesterday, meaning Saturday, right? So she emailed us on Sunday. She said, I was there yesterday with my 2 daughters for an hour float each. Last night we were not feeling the best. Swollen hands and feet, skin felt burnt and itchy, rough night. The salt was just really intense. Feeling off today, still swollen and sore. Thank you, right? So I talked to Chelsea about this. I looked on the Float Collective. We have like a Facebook group of all these like float center owners and operators, and we kind of talk about things like this. So one thing, you know, sometimes people, if you're coming down with something, like let's say that you're coming down with a cold, like when you relax or have a nap, have you ever woken up from that nap and felt like way worse? You know, because you like relaxed your body. And then, like, your immune system wasn't, like, trying to fight just to keep it at bay so you could get your tasks done. And the second you relax, you get really sick, right? That happens on, like, you know, if you have a school break and you go on vacation, you get sick immediately because you were, like, working so hard and studying so hard and, like, taking the exams and stuff. And then once you stop powering through and you, like, rested for a minute, like, you got super sick, right? So that happens sometimes in the float tanks, too. So sometimes if you're coming down with a cold, if you're coming down with something and you float, like that like relaxes your body, and then like the virus attacks you or whatever, you know, which isn't our fault. We're not the ones who gave them a cold, you know what I mean? But sometimes people feel like that kind of way. So that's like one of the reasons why people can feel like off or feel like a little bit sick or tired or whatever, right? And then or like the skin feeling burned or itchy. Again, we addressed that one already. Sometimes it's allergies, sometimes it's dry skin, eczema, and then the magnesium. I mean, it's 1,300 pounds of salt. Like, if your skin is sensitive, like, that might happen. You know what I mean? But the thing that was concerning for me about this email was their swollen hands and feet, right? So the swollen hands and feet is called edema, which is like fluid buildup and swelling, especially in the extremities of your body. And that happens sometimes like when you're pregnant or if you have like a kidney disease or something. That could be a sign that there's something actually really wrong with this person and they need to see their doctor. So this is what I replied to their email with the next morning. I said, I'm sorry to hear that you had those symptoms the evening after your float. I spoke to the assistant manager who was there during your float, and she said that you, just the mom, did get out of the tank 10 minutes early, but you didn't report any symptoms to her while you were in the spa, just that you were done a little early. She said your daughters completed their entire 60-minute floats and didn't mention any side effects at the time. So there were 3 bookings, you know what I mean? And it's sometimes when a mom is a hypochondriac, they like force their children to tell them they're having the same symptoms too, to validate their experience. But it's like, listen, lady, I wasn't going to call you crazy or anything. Like, you don't have to tell me all 3 of you like felt sick after your float. You know what I mean? It's like very unlikely that all 3 of them felt that way. I said, as it mentioned on the waiver you signed, flotation therapy provides a deep state of relaxation and increases blood flow to the body's tissues. Being well hydrated before and continuing to hydrate after helps prevent issues. Sometimes clients may experience edema, fluid buildup and swelling, especially in the extremities, if they're on blood pressure medications, which you may not have disclosed to us, right? Or if they have an undiagnosed and untreated medical condition, such as pregnancy, poor circulation, diabetes, kidney function issues, and congestive heart failure. If you aren't having shortness of breath or heart palpitations, which you did not mention, it's unlikely to be a medical emergency, but definitely worth consulting a doctor. If you would give me a call back at 262-317-9100, we can process a refund for half the cost of your $50 60-minute single float. Please let me know if you have any other questions, Laura. And then she never replied. So that was like a month ago. So she never asked for her refund. You know what I mean? Like I think she just wanted to complain and have her feelings be validated, you know? Float Oasis, this is Laura. How can I help you?